Matt Engel, director of the Lone Star Project, a Democratic PAC. Thank you so much and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
Happy to be here, Jack.
So it looks like Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is going to enter the Senate race officially on Monday. Do you agree with that? And if so, what is the impact on the Democratic primary?
Well, it sure looks that way. I don't know for sure. I don't think anybody else other than Congresswoman Crockett does, but it looks like she's running. For me, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that it's an indication that the best talent in our party sees that there's an opportunity to win a U.S. Senate race, and they're willing to spend their time and take political risks to do it. The bad side, or the frustrating thing, is that three of our very best communicators are all in the same race. I mean, you know, if I could decide what's what, one of them would run for the U.S. Senate, one of them would run for governor, and one of them would run for attorney general, but that's not the world we live in. And so we're going to have a very competitive Democratic primary. Whoever comes out of it's going to be tested.
And I was going to ask you, though, I mean, what impact does this have on former Congressman Colin Allred of Dallas and State Representative James Tallarico of Austin? Who does her entry hurt more?
Oh, I don't know if it hurts one more than the other. I think that since Colin ran last time and was the nominee, that anybody challenging that kind of takes away a vote that he had claimed in the past. But that doesn't mean that he couldn't prevail in this primary. I think it's going to be very competitive. They've got to think in terms of 2 rounds. There'll be a runoff. How do I get to the runoff? And then, you know, what do I do in order to get the support of whoever doesn't make the runoff? And so it becomes 3-dimensional chess at this point and a challenge for all 3 of them.
So you definitely think this is runoff, definitely a runoff?
Oh yeah, I'd be very surprised if that didn't result in a runoff.
And do you think electability is going to become the key, you know, the key factor, the key issue in this race? Because Congresswoman Crockett told me that, you know, for her to get into the race, she would have to have data that shows that she could win a general election, not by attracting Republicans, but by expanding the electorate. And I would have to imagine that the other campaigns of Allred and Tallarico say, no, we can attract Republicans and independents. So how do you see this as an issue?
Well, again, you can define electability a lot of ways. I think that Congresswoman Crockett was responsible in doing a lot of research and making sure that she did have a path. But there's always a little tension within the Democratic Party as to whether you can really raise or grow the electorate large enough in order to win with somebody who's maybe a little bit more progressive than others, or whether or not it's about building a coalition. The history, the track record is Democrats have won competitive races more often when we've been able to build a coalition, kind of run from the middle out. But there hasn't been a candidate in the past like Jasmine Crockett who really excites people and maybe can grow the electorate. We'll see. But I think electability, particularly for people who are really concerned about the direction that Republicans have taken the state, I think for those types of Democrats, electability is very important.
But it's an uphill climb for any Democrat to run statewide in Texas, just because history has shown, you know, no Democrat has won statewide in more than 30 years.
Oh, sure. I mean, Texas is the hardest game of political king of the hill in the country because Texas is a giant state. If you're on the top, even if you've maybe got more people down in the valley, to knock you off, they've all got to get together and charge it at the same time. If they charge you one at a time, you can push them back. And that's kind of where the Republicans are now. They're probably outnumbered in terms of just the sensibilities of the public, but they're seen as having won and having been in charge. And so as Democrats, we've got to overcome that assumption. There's a lot of voters out there who don't think of themselves as Democrats or Republicans, but they default to Republican because they think, well, they're going to win anyway, or I'm a little bit worried about a Democrat who might be like a national Democrat. And so I think Texas Democrats have to really establish and take on the brand of being a Texas Democrat and make it clear that our party is really the one that's more available to regular folks out there who are trying to make their house payments, make their car payments, pay for their insurance, which are skyrocketing under more than a generation now of one-party Republican control.
When you say Texas Democrat as opposed to a national Democrat, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, somebody who talks about Texas and the things we have in Texas, somebody who knows that the energy industry is important here, somebody knows that border security is important and it's also a big employer, somebody that understands that Texans really have a harder time in terms of wages and what they're paid. I mean, Texas workers are more underpaid than most places in the country. I think as Texas Democrats, we have a responsibility to talk directly to those people about the things that affect their lives. And I think voters are ready to hear that. And again, also, we need to remind people that whatever Greg Abbott says is wrong with Texas, or whatever John Cornyn says is wrong with Texas, well, it's their fault. They've been in control for 25 years.
But at the same time, you know, people are moving to Texas. People are voting with their feet. So does that put up a potential roadblock for a Democrat?
Oh, no. In fact, a lot of the people that are moving into Texas, they come with an open mindset and with the idea that they are more likely to look at two candidates from an even mindset. And so Republicans don't get any credit for the population growth in Texas. I mean, the people who live in Texas, who grow this economy, are people who work really hard, they raise their families, and they make less than people in a lot of other states. And so I think that to the degree to which this state is growing, that's helping Democrats. And the fact that Democrats have done a little bit better every 2 years because I think the changes in the Texas population, both in terms of who's coming in and how the population itself is growing.
I don't know if you saw it, but there was new research on this race that came out yesterday, and we're talking on Wednesday. And it's from Change Research, and it found late last month that Congresswoman Crockett is the most well-known of the Democrats, Tallarico and Allred, in the state, which probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. But she also has the highest unfavorable rating, and nearly half, 49%, said they would definitely not vote for her. Is that going to be a problem for her?
Well, it's a challenge. It's whenever you become more well-known, you're going to be able to bring people who agree with you and expose yourself to people who don't agree with you. And so it doesn't surprise me, certainly, that she's the most well-known. She's on TV more than any other elected Democrat probably in the state. Also, she's a person who holds her opinions passionately and is willing to speak her mind. Some people like that, some people don't.
If she does get into the race, and if she were to win the primary and become the Democratic nominee, is she going to energize Republicans?
She could. I think that that's the real challenge, is for her to be able to increase turnout for not just her race, but for other Democrats without motivating Republicans. Now, I will tell you that, I've been doing politics in Texas a long time. Republicans don't have much to brag about at any level. And I'm not sure that being upset with one or two Democrats is going to overcome the fact that they're profoundly disappointed with the Republican leadership that's failing them.
And so you don't see that as you do see that as a challenge for her, and all of her past statements are going to probably come back in commercials, et cetera. And you don't see that as a...
Oh, it could be. It could be. Make no mistake. But I assume she says, and I believe that she's done a lot of research. I hope that they've tested some of the things that the Republicans might use. Because if you're going to run in a competitive environment, you got to not only test the things that people like about you, but things they don't like about you.
And you think she's done that?
I hope that she has. And I believe that she has diligently gone about doing the research. So I'd assume it would include those.
Let's talk about the Republican primary very quickly. How do you see this shaping up?
Well, I think it's a mess. I think that the fact that you've got their Senate race that is as clogged and as crowded as the Democratic race is. But my view is, and I'm on record, I think that John Cornyn is a dead senator walking. I think that his brand of Republican is all but extinct. And him kind of pathetically trying to pander to Trump and to pretend that he's been MAGA all along is really, to me, humiliates him. And so I think there's a sadness in Cornyn's campaign being run the way it is. My guess is that Paxton will be their nominee. Wesley Hunt kind of throws a little bit of a monkey wrench into it, but I think it hurts Cornyn. So I think Paxton will be their nominee. And let me tell you that if people don't like specific things that Jasmine Crockett has said, or Colin Allred has said, or that James Tallarico has said, well, there are real crimes that Ken Paxton has committed that will be issues in the campaign.
And so my last question is going back to the Democratic primary. How do you see this shaping up? Who is going to make it? Do you think any two of them could make it? Is it really wide open? It could be any two, a combination of any two make it into a runoff?
It could. I mean, right now it comes down to really old-fashioned who's been able to figure out the best strategy, who's been able to not only identify the people who are with them now, but the people they have a chance to get, and whether you can mobilize them in order to come in first or second. And a lot of it's tactical. Texas is a giant state, so you got to decide, where you're going to spend your money and where your vote's going to come from. So you got to think about it geographically. You got to think about it in terms of vote history. You got to think about it ethnically. All of those things. And so again, whoever comes out of this will be a tested candidate ready for a general election.
Do you think it'll get nasty between the Democrats?
It could be. Usually when anything's competitive, that you want to make sure that people know the things about your opponent that they might not like. But I don't know that it'll get personal, though. I doubt that it would get personal.
Just maybe on their vote history.
Yeah, it could be about vote history. It could be about difference of opinions on who's electable and who isn't.
All right, we shall see.
Yep.
Very good. Matt Engel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack.
We appreciate it.
Happy to do it.